Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. I am Moon Artist, and I just want to take this time to welcome you all and thank you for supporting this channel. This channel will be dedicated to my artwork and, of course, reading your fantastic stories. Whether it's about ghosts, love, or just a slice of life that you want to share, feel free to send me your stories through the links in the description box. I am always looking for new stories to tell and new inspirations for drawings. Thank you very much and enjoy. This video is 3 short stories submitted by my subscribers and will be read mainly in English. All stories are from the same author. Story 1. As a kid, I've always experienced things, but never really knew why until about 7 years ago when my grandma told me I may be next in line to become the family shaman. Nonetheless, I never wanted this, so I never accepted the responsibilities, hence why all my experiences might have heightened. I have never seen anything. I have always just felt or heard things. My very first time seeing something was when my now husband and I were just dating and I was being impolite. I went to his place and didn't leave until 3 or 4 in the morning. He was sleeping already and tired, so I asked if I can walk myself out, and I told him that I'll lock the door behind me. I promise we didn't do anything. We've only had a few beers and watched a K-drama together. Well, it's more like I watched the K-drama and he just fell asleep. But anyway, so I left and I locked his front door and proceeded to walk towards my car. I parked my car across the street, one house over. But when I looked up, I saw a dog a few yards away from me across the street. I suddenly froze in my spot because I was afraid of dog, and I was afraid that if it saw me, it might attack me. As I watched the dog, I started to realize it was walking really weird. The more I looked at it, the clearer my vision got, and then I realized it wasn't a dog at all. Whatever it was walking on both hands and feet, and its hair was hanging down over its face. It was all black. I froze in fear and wanted to turn back and run into my boyfriend's house, but it dawned on me that I've already locked it. I then started debating, should I make a run for my car? Do I call my boyfriend to open the door for me? Or do I just wait? I couldn't possibly make a run for my car, as the thing was crawling straight towards my car in the same direction. So with no other options, I just stood there in fear and prayed that it wouldn't notice me. It felt like forever, but finally, I watched as it slowly made its way and crawled, and finally it disappeared behind the corner. It took another moment for me to collect myself and convince myself that I had to take the risk, so I made a run for it. I unlocked the car with my keys as I was running towards it, got in, locked my car, started up, and took off as fast as I could. Thank goodness, I parked in the garage and had the remote to open the garage at my house. My heart was still pounding out of my chest. Even when I got home, it was safely at my house. And the thought of sleeping alone as usual was quickly dismissed as I went to wake up my sister to come and sleep with me in the living room that night. Story 2. I used to work at the mall. At this time, I had just started driving and did not know how to drive on the highway yet, so my mom had me take this back road that crosses the cemetery. I usually don't get off work until late at night, since we had to detail the store after closing hours. Most of the time, I don't even get off till 11 or 1 a.m. After about 2 months of taking this route to work, for some reason, on my way home, every time I passed the cemetery, I started to smell this rotting smell in the car. I drove my mom's van at this time too, so it was extra scary, as in a van with me alone, there was a lot of empty space in the back. I did not want to look in the rearview mirror because I was scared that if I looked, every time I passed the cemetery and started smelling this rotten smell, that I would see something that I did not want to see. This kept happening and I started getting sick and didn't know why. I started hearing things and feeling this weird presence with me all the time that I couldn't explain. Finally, I managed the courage to tell my mom about what has been happening, and she just brushed it off and said it was nothing. But then one day I came home from work and my mom asked me if I drive past the cemetery all the time on my way home from work, and I said yes. Then she suddenly said, "From now on, take another route home and never drive past the cemetery on your way home again." My mom had actually reached out to my grandma to Shaya and found out that the soul had been following me home and has attached itself to me, but luckily she sent the soul away. Ever since then, I stopped smelling the smell and driving past the cemetery. So to everyone, be careful out there. Story 3. This is when I was still just a kid. Kindergarten, maybe. My family used to live next door to my grandma. There was a time that I had taken a nap and woke up to an empty house. I remember that right before I took the nap, my parents had been talking about going to my cousin's house for a jingle bell or oneng, and I wanted to go. For some reason, I fell asleep though, and when I woke up, everyone was just gone. I looked all around the house while I was crying, but I couldn't find anybody. I finally gave up and went to sit on the couch under the front window and just cried. Then all of a sudden, I heard my grandma's voice, and she asked me, "Nai, ko wachiyo?" Or, "Baby, why are you crying?" I looked up and I saw my grandma sitting at the front of the front door with the door open, and she was sewing her pandal. I remember I stopped crying, but I felt weird because I know I already checked the front door and she was not there. I thought maybe she just came to sit there and I probably missed her walking to the front door as I went to check the kitchen. The house isn't big, and you can't really miss a person walking by unless when you go into the kitchen and it's too short to see over the counter. I didn't answer her, but I just kept silently sobbing to myself, and for some reason I was slowly drifting off back to sleep again. Then I heard this slight thump, and I heard my mom's voice. I got up really fast to look out the window and happily saw that my family was coming home. I watched one by one as my family members got out of the car until I saw my grandma in the back seat. She was sitting in the middle. I was so confused and quickly looked over back at the front door, but the door was closed and no one was sitting there. My mom opened the door and looked at me and asked me why I was sitting alone. I was so scared and shocked I didn't say anything. I remember my mom saying my aunt was supposed to watch me, but I guess my aunt just forgot I was home since I was taking a nap in the room and she just left with her friends. I don't remember much after my family came home, but to this day, I still think about what happened. It might have just been my ancestors comforting me by pretending to be my grandma. I'll never know. Well, I hope you all enjoyed those short stories as much as I did, and I'm looking for stories about shaman experiences, whether it is supernatural or about your experience rising as a shaman in our community. I'm also looking for inspiring love stories because I cannot be always telling you guys ghost stories, right? I hope to hear from you all soon, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a wonderful day.